Alright, hello everyone. It is Nigel here once again, and welcome back to System Shock Radio. Uh, first things first, guys, we are at 75 episodes. Oh, can you believe it? That is absolutely insane to think about. If you've been here since day one, if you've been here since after day one, no matter when you got here, I want to thank you. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. Anyone who's ever liked, commented, shared this video, to all my subscribers. I love and appreciate each and every one of you. So today I thought I'd do something a little different for you guys. So what I have with me here is a tier list. Now, this is going to be a tier list of every armor worn by Iron Man in the MCU. Just a couple things to break down before we begin. For starters, the only armors that I excluded from this list are the armors that were featured in the House Party Protocol scene in Iron Man 3. And the reason I omitted those is because he didn't wear those armors for long. He only wore them for like maybe max like a couple minutes, but these are armors he wore significantly for a duration of time, and actually did stuff and actually fought and everything. And so since these armors were featured prominently, I decided that these were the armors I was going to go with. The other thing is that the reason I decided to do MCU Iron Man armors is for a couple reasons. For starters, for my comic fans and non-comic fans, if you're like a non-comic fan who only knows Iron Man through like watching the MCU, the movies and everything, then you won't feel lost with all these armors. Instead, these are armors that you've seen before and that you're at least somewhat familiar with. I will explain where each armor is from, just in case. But yeah, these should be armors that you guys are familiar with and everything. But another thing I want to mention, the other reason I should say, is if we had to go through each Iron Man armor in the comics, we'd probably be here for a while, at least maybe an hour or two, and I try to limit these episodes to 30 minutes. So we're just sticking with the MCU for now. Now, how these are going to be ranked, it's mainly on appearance, how the armor looks and everything, but it may get bonus points for functionality. And the big thing to keep in mind is that these are my opinions. If you disagree at all with my opinions, that is perfectly fine. In fact, I would love to hear from you guys regarding these armors and what you guys think of them. Well, without further ado, let's get into it. So, this first armor is the Mark 1. So this is the Iron Man armor that was built in the cave with the box of scraps, as Obadiah Stane beautifully, he just beautifully heard it out in that one scene from Iron Man 1, how Tony Stark built this in a cave with box of scraps. He very well did. And for this, I also gotta explain how the tiers work. So I'm gonna scroll to the bottom, and we have and this is kind of like my friend Steve's format. Follow him at Plax TV on YouTube, and I think either Plax TV or Plax19 on Twitch. But this is how we're gonna do things. We have the S tier, aka Invincible, because that's his nickname, the Invincible Iron Man. And one of the things I like about Marvel Comics is that they all have like nicknames, like little tagline names with their names, such as like Invincible Iron Man or Spectacular Spider-Man or the Incredible Hulk or the Mighty Thor. That's always been pretty cool to me. But we do have Invincible, which is S tier. Then we have A tier. Then we have B tier. Then we have C tier. Then we have D tier. Then we have F tier. So A tier is like good, but not enough to really be an S tier. B tier is like kind of the middle ground. C tier is like it's kind of meh a design. The D tier is like almost bottom of the barrel. Only a select few maybe redeeming qualities that you have in order to stay out of the F tier. And F tier is like the bottom of the barrel, absolute garbage. Do not like. But back to Mark 1. So Mark 1 and it doesn't look like much, but it's still I like how it looks very similar to how it does in the comics, and I provide the image so you guys can see what armor I'm talking about. But I like how it has like the comic type look to it. It but also looks very thrown together because this is the thrown together armor. And the lore behind it, of course, is that this is Tony Stark breaking out. It's him trying to survive in this armor. So, with that being said, this one, the Mark 1, I'm going to go ahead and put in B. So, we got our first B tier here, and that is going to be Mark 1. So now, scrolling back up onto Mark 2. And this is sort of the base model for a lot of the Iron Man armors, but it's all silver. This is just the more body-fitting armor, not the big clunky one like we see with Mark 1 here, but this is more like the fitted armor and everything. And this one is all silver, and it's supposed to be more like a prototype type thing. So with that, I am going to also put Mark 2 in B tier. Here, no color, which is kind of a down, but it makes sense because, like I said, it's kind of prototypical. So with that, Mark 2 is going in the B tier. Now moving on to the red and yellow color, and I do like how it was introduced in the movie, how it's based off the hot rodded car that Tony Stark had, but this is Mark 3, and this is a really good looking armor. I do like how it's got some stuff going on. The red and yellow, the red and gold I should say, looks really good. A lot of detail throughout, a lot of sculpt throughout, and there's the arc reactor nicely in the chest and everything. And I really do like it, so I'm going to put this in A. So Mark 3 is going to be our first A tier. So really good looking armor, I think. Moving on now to Mark 4. Now, this one I do like. It's pretty similar to Mark 3, except a couple differences. There's a little more red, which isn't a bad thing. And I like how it does look like there's a little more going on a little more in terms of like sculpt and everything, but still a really good looking armor. And Mark 4 is what he wore at the beginning of Iron Man 2 as he was flying in. Yeah, so Mark 4 is going to also be in the A tier. So some really good looking armors here. They're starting off hot, but now let's bring it down a little bit because next up is Mark 5. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys. Even as a kid, I have always hated this armor. I think there's way too much silver. They were really heavy-handed with the silver here. There's a lot going on, which is nice, but the silver here is very egregious. I feel like the Iron Man armors, and again, these are just my opinions, they should always have more red than like the other metallic colors like gold or silver. I feel like the gold and silver, they're like very potent colors to where they definitely stand out. So the red kind of takes the edge off a little bit. For example, armor in the comics that pulls it off well, and I'll pull it up for you guys, is the Silver Centurion armor. Or so, Iron Man Silver Centurion. I think this one pulls off the red and silver look a lot better here, where the silver isn't as egregious, and this is how it looked in the movies. But yeah, so there is silver there, but the red still takes a lot of that edge off. Here, I feel like it's way too much silver going on. So with that, and like I said, there is a lot going on, but it does look pretty weird, or a lot of like the niches and grooves and stuff in there. So with that being said, I gotta put this one in. I think I'm gonna put this one in maybe C tier. I'm gonna put this one in C tier. I don't necessarily want to put it in D tier or too much because I kind of get what they were going for, but yeah, it's going in C tier. Next up to Mark 6, and I do like how we have the gold and silver. Now this is what he wore for most of the first Avengers movie, and he wore it pretty much at the tail end of Iron Man 2, who, when he was fighting Whiplash and everything in the final battle. But this is a really good looking armor, or I feel like the gold and silver balances out pretty well, and there's a lot of stuff going on. It's got the triangle arc reactor, which we've seen with some armors, and yeah, just a really good looking armor. I do like how the gold and silver kind of intermingle, where there's parts of gold there and parts of silver there, but the red, you can tell, is still the dominant color. So I really like it. So I am going to put Mark 6 in the A tier. It's a really good looking armor in my opinion. But next up, we move on to Mark 7. This is what he wore, or pretty much for the pretty much towards the end of Avengers. There's after Loki threw him out of the tower, Stark Tower, and Tony had to use his watch to connect and get the armor on. That was a really cool way to get your armor on. But I do like this one. I like how there's a bit more gold in this parts here, but it's not really enough to bother me, and it still plays well with the silver and the red. A little more red, in fact. But these parts have been turned to gold, but it's still a really good looking armor. Still a lot going on. It's got the rocket, the rockets from the shoulder pads and everything. And it's a really good looking armor. I really like this one. Probably one of my favorite armors. In fact, I think I might put this as our first S tier, perhaps. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna put this as our first S tier. Some about it. I think there's red and everything. I think the red outweighs the other metallic colors, which is nice. But something about it and the sculpt and everything really makes this a good looking armor. So I'm gonna put this here, or in S tier. It's a really solid armor in my opinion. Mark 42, another armor I've always hated, but this one I feel like is worse than Mark 5. There's way too much gold. Oh, the red is barely seeping through. The gold is way too egregious. It is in my opinion, a pretty ugly armor. I do not like this armor at all. I do like how different parts like fly towards him and he's able to put them on and everything, but not a big fan of it. Way too much gold. Well, there's some silver there, but way too much gold and silver. The red barely seeps through. At least the helmet's still there, but yeah, it's just too egregious with like the metallic type colors like gold and silver and everything. So with that, this is our first D tier. I really do not like this armor at all. Not a fan of it at all in the slightest. And you may be asking how we make the jump from Mark 7 to Mark 42, because everything 8 through 41 is all those armors I was talking about in the house party protocol scene, such as like Silver Centurion is there, Igor is there, I think the nightclub armor is there as well. Also, we jumped ahead, and I may explain where the other armors are as well, because we do another jump. But moving on to Mark 43, I feel like this one kind of redeems where Mark 42 kind of failed. There is still quite a bit of gold and silver, but not as much to bother me. And I do like how the red is dominant once again here in this armor, or as it should be. There's quite a bit going on. It's got the circular arc reactor, which is nice, and I do like a lot of these little grooves and everything where the red kind of layers on top of the gold and silver. And this is what he wore at the beginning of Age of Ultron. And so with that being said, I think I am going to put this one in B tier. It's a really good looking armor. I do really like it. Not enough to go in A, but it's still a good looking armor. Now we move on to Mark 44, aka the Hulkbuster armor. Man, this was a cool armor. This is a really cool armor. Still is a cool armor. Or just that Hulkbuster scene in Age of Ultron was really good. But this one I do like how, just like in the comics, the Hulkbuster armor is nice and bulky, but not as big as the Hulk. It looks like pretty much a giant Iron Man, which is nice. I like the little things on the arms. The arm gauntlets was pretty cool, and it's got like the big blast and everything. And it looks like it's got extra arc reactors in the knees. And it's got a tiny one in the chest there. And I like the big broad shoulders on the armor. It pretty much just looks like a giant armor. It looks like an armor you would show up with to fight the Hulk, which is nice. So, because of that, I think I am gonna put this one in S tier. It is a really good armor, probably one of my absolute favorite Iron Man armors that they had in the MCU. It's a really good looking one. I really like this one. Now to Mark 45, and this one's pretty good. I feel like it almost is too much red, but I do like how they do have the gold and silver to balance it out and everything. And we get like this, I guess, like trapezoid type arc reactor or that we would see in like our later armors and everything. And I do really like all the stuff going on within the armor, all different points and everything, and the little grooves and stuff like that. Sometimes the armor can have a little too much red, but I do like how the other metallic colors still show up. So it's a really good armor. I think I'm going to put this one in B tier as well. So Mark 45 is going to go in B tier for me. Now on to Mark 46. This is the armor that Iron Man wore in Civil War. Still a lot of red here, but I do like how we are seeing a bit more gold and silver as opposed to this one. And it's definitely got more like that trapezoid type shape, and it covers part of the arc reactor. That does bother me a little bit, but not too much. And still a lot going on. And I do like all the grooves and everything, and how we see a lot of lines and stuff like that. That looks really good. But still, I gotta put this in B tier as well. So Mark 46 will join Mark 45 in B tier. Next up, Mark 47. Definitely hate this armor. Really do not like it because it feels so lazy. Like, it feels like it looks exactly like Mark 46, except with a lot of silver in the torso and the legs. Why? Why is this there? It does not look good. It feels like such a last minute thing. Like, oh shoot, we gotta have Tony Stark in there. Well, we want to have Tony Stark, and this armor is from the Spider-Man Homecoming movie where Iron Man makes appearances there. It feels like a last minute thing. Like, oh shoot, Tony Stark, do we want him in armor? Okay, we do want him in armor. Shoot, what type of armor can we put him in? Let's put him in the Mark 46, but it's gotta look different. Just put silver. Just put silver anywhere. It does not really pan out that well. I really do not like it. I've never really liked it. It's always looked really cheesy to me. I'm not a big fan of it. So with that, we are going to put Mark 47 in. No, not B tier. You do not deserve B tier. But I don't quite think it's as bad as Mark 42. So it is going in C tier. Next up is Mark 48. And this is the Hulkbuster armor, Model 2, that Bruce Banner spent and pretty much the rest of the movie in when he was fighting and everything in Wakanda. And I don't like this one as much as the other one. It looks a lot sleeker, which is fine, I guess, but well, that's not really that fine. I don't know how to feel about it. Like, there is a lot going on, which is nice, but it doesn't look as bulky as the other Hulkbuster armor. I think that does bother me a little bit. And all these extra grooves and everything, I think, come as kind of a detriment here. Look at this one. Look back at Mark 44. Big, bulky, definitely looks menacing and everything. But this one looks a lot smaller, and it's not just because of the image that I used here, but it definitely looks smaller, and I don't think the sleeker design really works that well as they would have hoped it did. Red is the dominant color, which is nice, but We still do get gold and silver, which is also good, but I don't know. I don't think I like it as much as the other Hulkbuster armor and any of the other armor. So Mark 48 is also going in C tier for me. This is Mark 50. Mark 49 is the rescue armor that Pepper Potts had in um, Endgame, but this is Mark 50, which Iron Man had in Infinity War, and this one's from Infinity War as well. Oh, um, it's weird how he pretty much made armors for both. Well, maybe not for necessarily for Bruce. He probably made it for himself, but ended up giving it to Bruce. But also Pepper before he made an armor for himself. Oh, but this is Mark 50. This is the nanotech armor, and I feel like unlike the other one, the sleek design works here a bit better because, and it's so cool how he does it. He presses the button, it like covers his body, and then he takes the glasses off as the armor covers him. I think that's pretty cool, and I know some people didn't really like it because it it looks a lot skinnier and everything versus like the older armors we see where it looks more bulky and more hefty and everything. But I feel like the sleeker one definitely works, and it can generate weapons and everything, just like the bleeding edge armor, which is pretty cool. Well, I feel like we are seeing red as more dominant once again, but I think the gold and silver definitely compensates here. And again, just the fact that it's able to generate weapons definitely gives it bonus points for me. So, Mark 50 is definitely going in. Not, do I want to put it in S tier? No, I think I'll put it in A tier. I don't know if I like it as much as the other one, but it is definitely still a really good armor. And last, but certainly not least, Mark 85. And not sure where in MCU canon the other armors are, but Mark 85, which is similar to this one, except now we have more gold and silver. But this time it's not a bad thing, and for a couple reasons. For starters, we still have the weapon generating and everything. And also, this armor is more durable than this one, and it makes sense so they can fight Thanos. But also, the added bonus that it's an homage to the old school Iron Man armor, or the OG Iron Man armor. Or so if you look up Iron Man 60s here, or to show you what I'm talking about, and this is what I used to talk about it on social media when I posted it, that I was going to be doing the episode this way. But you see we got the red torso here with the red gloves and the red boots, and then that helmet and everything, but it's got like the yellow or gold, I should say, sleeves and the gold legs down there. I do like how it has that homage to that, which is very nice. It translated into MCU form, and it shows that it can do that and make you look good. So with that, I think I gotta put this in S tier, or mainly because of the homage. I think the homage gave it bonus points for me. So Mark 80, not 78, Mark 85 is going in S tier. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the rankings. So to recap, basically, sorry, I just checking my studio, make sure we are still recording. So to recap, we got Mark 7, Mark 44, Mark 85, and S tier. Then in A tier we got Mark 3, Mark 4, Mark 6, and Mark 50. In B tier we have Mark 1, Mark 2, Mark 43, Mark 45, and Mark 46. C tier we have Mark 5, Mark 47, and Mark 48. And in D tier we have Mark 42. So nothing at F tier, which like I said, probably wouldn't, but still a solid looking armor list in my opinion. And again, these are my opinions, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below your favorite and least favorite Iron Man armors and where you think they rank in terms of the MCU and everything. But that's gonna do it. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for 75 episodes of System Shock Radio. Oh, and I'm glad I was able to do this for you guys, and I will see you guys later. Peace.